Now, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, once again. This is a continuation of exercise 3.5 on page 46 of your handout. Currently, maybe it might change, be another page in future years, but this is the year 2020. It's still on page 46. It says, it's the story of the farmer who borrowed 2.5 million. It says a farmer borrowed 2.5 million at 7.5% compounded monthly to build a dam on his farm. So the purpose of the 2.5 million is to build a dam in his farm. Then it says he agrees or contracts to pay the loan back in 10 equal annual payments starting at the end of year 2. If you look at the interest is compounded monthly, but he wants to make annual payments, meaning this interest must be converted into annual equivalent. And this is a very important question, which I also dealt with the story of the student who borrowed, I think he borrowed, was it 12,000, I'm not sure, but or 7,000 every 6 months. It was the same thing where the monthly rate must be converted to 6 monthly compounds or 6 monthly rate. So it says, compute what annual payments he must make to settle the debt over the prescribed period. But be mindful of the fact that the payments started at the end of year 2. So we need to know the future value when the farmer begins to make the payment or starts to make the payment. Meaning we need to say, how much did he borrow at the beginning of year 1? 2.5 million. We need to say plus interest for year 1, plus interest for year 2, year 1 and year 2. Then after, in this future value, at the end of year 2, we start then now calculating the amount that he's supposed to pay every end of the year for the next 10 years as agreed. Now, it says compute what annual payments he must make to settle the debt over the prescribed period. And I want to highlight this. Not always this information will have to be provided to you, where you are always given the tips that you must start with this. That is not always the case. And I also don't like to always give step by step in terms of the flow of information. Some things need to be hidden, and student by his or her intelligence must be able to know what must be calculated before a certain step is required. Although we know that the main question is to calculate PMT, but we know that we can't calculate our PMT while our payments are per annum and our interest is compounded monthly. We first need to convert that. So let us first deal with the conversion of the interest rate. Remember, the conversion of the interest rate, there is a rate that we are looking for. There is the rate that is given on the over the equal sign. So is the rate that we are looking for is equal to the information of the rate that is given to us. So that means when it comes to the formula, it says 1 is always there, it does not change. It is the standard of the formula. 1 plus j indicates the rate that we are looking for. Then we divide by the number of times the rate we are looking for is compounded. And the rate that we are looking for is compounded annually, which means once a year. So this 1 and this 1 indicate the number of times the rate is compounded in a year, which is once a year annually. Then we write the information of the given rate, which is 1. As I said to you that 1 is always given. It is the standard formula, and I don't want to go to the derivative of the formula. 1 plus 0.075. This is the given rate divided by m, which is the number of times the given rate is compounded, to the number of times the given rate is compounded. So now this will be the information from the first step. Then now we need to eliminate the power, which is 1, does not change anything. Information remains the same. Then now what do we need to do? We need to say now over the equal sign. Start with the over the equal sign, open brackets, 1 plus 0.075 divided by 12, close brackets. Second function, dip. Then after you say 12 equals. Remember, I'm using a sharp calculator. Your answer will be 1.077632599. Then we take this one over the equal sign minus 1. Then the answer that you get will be 0.076325599. Then we multiply by this one, multiply by 1 will get the same answer, times by 1 times by 100. Then after our J, which is the annual rate, will be equal to 0. It will be equal to 7.7. This is 7.763256. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3, 2, 5, 6. I just want to take it to 5 decimal places. So it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let us take it only to 5 decimal places. Percentage per annum, compounded annually. So this will be the annual equivalent rate, 7.76326. So this is the annual rate that we need to calculate. Remember, we are required to calculate the PMTs, the annual payments that will start at the end of year 2. We still need to calculate the future value of that present value for a period of 2 years. So let us go there and compound the amount that was borrowed for the period the farmer was not making any payments. So now we say plus minus 2,500,000 rands is the present value. The interest is 7.76326 divide by 1. I don't want to forget this. Why do we divide by 1? Because interest is compounded once a year. So our N is 2. Why our N is 2? Because year 1 the farmer did not make any payment. Year 2 the farmer did not make any payment, but only at the end of year 2. So we need to add interest on the amount that he borrowed for the rest of the 2 years he was not making or any payment, or for the rest of the payments period he was not making any payments. And when I'm saying the payments period is because if the farmer was not making annual payments but he was making monthly payments, and the first payment started the end of month 2, let us say this was end of month 2, then we'll have to increase this 2.5 million for month 1 and month 2. Please be mindful of that. I want to highlight it. It will be for month 1 and for month 2. So hence I'm saying we have to increase the amount of the loan the farmer borrowed for the number of times he was not making the payments, which in this case for the period he was not making the payments, in this case is annually. It can be 6 monthly not making the payments, then after begins to make the payments. So we need to increase and calculate the future value or the value of the loan at the time the farmer begins to make the payment or starts to make the payment. So now let us say second function alpha 00, just to clear the memory in case there was a memory. Then we say 2,500,000 rands plus minus present value. Then we say 7.76326 is our I. Then we say 2 is our N, and we compute the future value. This gives us 2,903,230 rand 5 cents. So now this will be the answer rounded off to 2 decimal places. But let me leave the decimals there so that we just ignore the 5 cents that is there on the side. So we have 2,903,903, 2,903 rand, 230 rand, 5 cents. 2,903 rand, 230 rand, 5 cents. Yes, I'm pronouncing it correct. Not like our former president. Now, we continue on that same note. We have this amount that is the future value at the end of year 2. End of year 2. Now, at the end of year 2, the farmer is starting to make the payment. Now, I don't know how I can highlight this. If there is no payment that takes place from the first periods the person has borrowed money, whenever I start to make the payment, then the BGN function must always be on. Let us say, in this case, the farmer made no payment in year 1, but at the end of year 2 is making the payment. So now we calculated the future value up to the end of year 2. And up to the end of year 2, now the farmer begins to make the payment when he's owing this amount. It's not a period after. When he's owing this amount, then it begins to make a payment. So now this is when BGN functionality will also be used. BGN does not mean that payments are made at the beginning of the period in terms of the month or in terms of the year. No, it's not always the case. BGN will be used when you owe money now and to make a payment now, or let us say you borrow money now and to make a payment now. So in the case where you borrow the loan and you start making the payments after 3 months, then you'll be making monthly payments. Then the loan that you borrowed beginning of the month of the past 3 months, it will be added interest up until the end of month 3. Then now it will be more like you are starting to borrow the money end of year 3. So now we have to say we are borrowing money end of year 3, then you're making the payment on spot. Therefore now that will require the BGN functionality. Similarly with the story of the farmer, it's more like the farmer has borrowed this amount of money at the end of year 2 and is making the payment at the same period. So now BGN functionality will be used. I think there's another question that deals with this that I think I'll also deal with it along the way with the number of days. Now we have this future value at the end of year 2. And some of you will know that the future value must be converted to be the present value, because this is what the farmer presently owes. It's the present value, not the money that he owes in the future, but he owes it now. It is the future of what was present 2 years back, but it is the present in terms of what he owes. So now we say plus minus is the 2,903 rand, 2,903 230 2,903 230. Then this will be our present value. Now we are looking for the interest, which we know the interest it is 7.76326 compounded annually, and our N will be 10 because the farmer wants to make 10 annual payments. So now don't forget to switch on the function called BGN. The function called BGN, which is beginning. Now we are calculating the requirement. That means we are calculating PMT. Compute PMT. We are calculating the annual payments. So now what does that mean? That means you say second function alpha 00, then you say second function future value. If you say second function future value at the screen of your calculator, you will see BGN. Then after you can say now 2,903,230 rand plus minus the present value. 7.76326 is the interest, 10 is our N. Then we say compute PMT. PMT, it is 397,000 rands, 220 rand and 83 cents or 84 cents, rounding off to 2 decimal places. But keep the decimals there because your tests are normally online on Blackboard and the answers will be given. If there is 21 here, then you'll know which answer to choose. But if there is 2 decimals, which is 84, then you'll know which answer to choose. So the rounding off does not become that much of a major. So now let us keep that as 220. So now that will be the PMTs that the farmer will pay. So now these are the PMTs, and I want you to keep your answer as it is because we might need to use their mod function. So when we need to use the mod function, we need to make sure that we have the PV, we have I, we have N, and PMT. Then we can use the mod function, AMRT, where we want to know the balance after a certain number of payments were made. So our calculator is not clear. We go and look for the next question, but we have responded to the PMT which was required under number I. Now remember that the annual rate will remain the annual rate. It will not change despite what happens unless the farmer will change the payment period, which is not normally the case. Number J says assume that the farmer misses the payments at the end of year 7 and 8. What do the remaining payments increase to in order for him to settle the loan in the agreed or according to the contract time period? Now the farmer misses the payment number 7, so payment number 7 and payment number 8. And I just want to bring this across your mind that we have, I want to say we have year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, year 6, year 7, year 8, year 9, and year 10. Highlight that. Then we have PMTs. Payment number 1 is at the end of year 2. Please highlight that. Payment number 1 is at the end of year 2. That is payment number 1. Payment number 2, because year 1 the farmer did not pay. The farmer only made the first payment in year 2. So now that means that will be the first PMT, second PMT in year 3, third PMT, fourth PMT, fifth PMT. Now it says assume the farmer misses the payments at the end of year 7. At the end of year 7, and there is year 7 and year 8. That's where the payments were missed. But when he missed the payment for year 7, that was payment number 6 that he missed, and payment number 7 that were missed. I want to highlight that. Payment number 6 and payment number 7 were missed, but they were in year 7 and in year 8 according to the number of years from the date the farmer borrowed the loan from the bank in order to build his dam in his farm. So that means when we are mod, in other words, we need to know the balance after the fifth payment was made. We need a balance after payment number 5, which is payment number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is after year 6. In other words, that's what we need. And year 6 is the fifth payment. So please guys, highlight that one. Is very, very, very crucial, and I want to stress it too much because such questions can just make you make a very small mistake. So in this case, the number of years is not the same as the number of payments. The number of years is year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, but in year 5 we have the 4th payment. And in year 1 there was no payment because payment started in year 2. I think I said it enough. So we need to know the balance after the 5th payment was made, of which the 5th payment was made at the end of year 6. So we need to amort 5, not to amort 6. So we need the balance after the 5th payment was made. So now that I have said it enough, then we need to say here amort AMRT, and I want to bring this across again. Now we dealt already AMRT. We dealt with the calculations of number I, which are the ones above. This was I. Now we are going to J. When we go to J, we don't need the recalculation here. We just say AMRT 5. We want to know that, then we say amort 5, go to P2, then you say under P2 5, then you say enter, then you scroll down. Now this will give us the balance after the 5th payment was made. Then the balance after the 5th payment was made, it will be 1,595,933 rand. So this is the balance after the 5th payment was made, and the 5th payment was made at the end of year 6. So this is the balance. Remember, the 6th payment was missed in year 7. The 6th payment was missed in year 7. So we know that 6th payment and 7th payment were missed, and 6th payment was in year 7 and the 7th payment was in year 8 because year 1 nothing took place. So now we need to calculate the future value of this balance at the end of year 6. This is balance and year 6. At the same time, this is the balance after the 5th payment. This is the balance after the 5th PMT. So it doesn't matter how you call it, at the end of the day, it's the same thing. Now, because the balance at the end of after year 6 is the balance after the 5th payment was made. So what do we need to do now? We need to say this is what the farmer presently owes. Before a year he missed the next payment. Don't forget now to say second function future value in order to clear that BGN, but your calculator screen must be on cleared. Second function future value, then BGN will be removed. The second function alpha 00 to clear the memory. Then after we say now we are doing number J, we have calculated that balance. Then after, what do we need now? We need to know how much interest must be added for the 2 years the farmer missed the payments. So we have plus minus 1,595,933 rand is what the farmer is owing. Now the farmer is being charged interest of 7.76326% per annum compounded annually. Then now 2 years of payments were missed, which is year 7 and year 8, or 2 payments were missed, which means payment number 6 and payment number 7. So meaning we need to compute the future value or add interest on the amount that the farmer was owing a year before the missed payment. Therefore now that will be for 2 years, which is year 7 and year 8, or payment number 6 and payment number 7. We need to add interest for those 2 years. So we need to know how much is the future value of the loan. after the two missed payments were missed. Then after now, we'll continue calculate our PMT. Then we say second function alpha 0, 0, clear. Make sure that at the top screen of your calculator, there is no BGN, because now we don't deal with the beginning anymore. Then after we say 1,595,933 Rand plus minus present value. 7.76326 is our interest, and we have 2 as our N. Then we compute the future value. I said compute present value now. Then let us say 1,595,933 plus minus present value. Remember, I have already punched, or I already entered I, and I've already entered 2. So we can say compute future value. That should give us the correct amount. So we did not have to recalculate our N and recalculate our I, because I said compute present value. What I did, I just re-entered the present value as negative, then I said compute future value, because the calculator keeps the memory of the functions buttons. So the future value is 1,853,344 rands. This is the balance at the end of year 8, or this is the balance at the end of what was supposed to be the 7th payment, but was not made. So now this will be the future value. Then we need to calculate the new PMT. How much now the farmer will pay at the end of the next year in order for him to settle the debt as expected. So now we need to say this is the future value, but it's what the farmer presently owes at the end of year 8. And at the end of year 9, he still wants to make the payment and continue. So we say now plus minus 1,853,344 is our present value. Then our interest will be 7.76326 divided by 1, and our N will be how much? Now let us look at our N. Our N will be how much? Remember, we made payment number 1 up to payment number 5. If you remember that, we made payment 1 up to payment number 5. We had years where I told you that we have year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I want to go to 11. Then we have PMT. There's no PMT in year 1. We have PMT, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So payment number 10 is in year 11. We made 5 payments. If you remember, payments were made here. 2 payments were missed. So how many years are left? PMTs are left 1, 2, 3. Only 3 PMTs are left. So that means our N will be 3. That means if you want, you can say 10 minus 7 if you want, 10 minus 7, or you can say 11 minus 9, or 11 minus 8. You can say 11 minus 8, then you'll still get to the number of years being 3. So we compute our new PMT. Compute new PMT. You don't have to say new PMT. We're computing or calculating the new payments now. We have 1,853,344 plus minus present value. 7.76326 is our interest. Our tree is N, which is the remaining 3 years, because the farmer wants still to make payments for the period of the contract, which was 10 years. Then after we say compute PMT. How much can the farmer pay? The farmer has to pay 716,000 rands and 89 rand, 716,089 rands 59 cents. Sometimes I love to round off to 2 decimal places, but we are required not to do otherwise. So that will be 716,090 if we round off to the whole number. It will be 716,090. That will be the whole number. So now this will be the amount that he need to pay monthly. Previously, he was supposed to be paying 397,220, but now the payment have doubled. I'm not sure if the farmer will manage to pay such lump sum for the next 3 years if you even missed 2 payments. Now that was another requirement that we have responded to, which was requirement number J. So now we go to K. Then K is the last one, very lovely one. K says, assume that the farmer finds the amount of the payments prohibitive, and we can say that they are really prohibitive because they skyrocketed to 716,090 rand from 390 something thousand, because only of the 2 years that payments were missed. Now the farmer is really unable to make the payments, and he finds the payments very much prohibitive, and he requests a reduction on the interest rate to 5% per annum compounded monthly. Take note again, the decrease in the interest rate that is requesting is for 5.5 and is compounded monthly, but the payments are still per year. Then it says from the beginning of year 6, compute the new payments. First, calculate the annual equivalent rate of interest. I will always highlight that. So now that means the request was accepted, that no, we can give you 5.5% per annum compounded on a monthly basis, but your payments are per annum, so this must be converted into annual equivalent. Then after we can deal with the rest. Now remember again, the interest is changing when it says request the reduction of the interest monthly from the beginning of year 6. From the beginning of year 6, highlight that not from payment number 6, from the beginning of year 6. So now that means from year 2, 3, 4, 5, from year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. Remember, I'm referring to years here. There is, remember, year 1, there's no payment. From year 2, which is payment number 1, payment number 2, payment number 3, payment number 4, the interest is still 7.76326 as we calculated. So the interest is like this. For how many years? For 4 years. Then he wants the interest now to change to 5.5% per annum compounded monthly, which we need to convert into annual equivalent. For how many years? For the remaining 6 years, which will be for the remaining 6 payments, which will be payment number 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I just want to bring that across your mind as early as possible, but I'll still go across that. So let us deal with the conversion. The given rate is 5.5. The one that we are looking for is the annual rate. And I just want to make things short because annual rate very easy. Everything remains the same. We have 1 plus 0.055 divided by 12 to the power of 12. Then whatever answer we get here need to be deducted by 1. Then we times it by 100. I'll just be very short for this one. open brackets 1 plus 0.055 divided by 12, close brackets, second function, dip 12 equals minus 1 equals times 1 equals times 100 equals, then this will give us 5.64%. Not that much difference, 6407079%. Remember, we're taking it to 5 decimal places per annum. Compounded how often? Annually, or compounded yearly. Please make sure that you write that. So now this is the rate that we are going to use beginning of year 6. Beginning of year 6. Now that means we need to know the balance. Remember, we are required to calculate first of all the new payment starting beginning of year 6, but we need to know the balance at the end of year 5. And I want you to catch me on this, a balance at the end of year 5, so that we begin with the new balance at the end of year 6. But the balance at the end of year 5 is the balance after the 4th payment was made. I want to highlight that. Remember my story of years? We said we have year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, year 6. We have PMTs. I know I might be boring now. We have PMTs, which is payments. Our payments, they go like this. In year 1, there's no payment. We start payment 1 in year 2. Year 3, payment 2. Year 4, payments 3. Year 5, payment 4. Do you see that? So now we have year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, year 6. So in this case, the interest changed at the end of year 5. There was an interest, or the interest changed, yes, I want to say the interest changed at the end of year 5. And black, what do you mean say end of year 5? Remember, closing balance of year 5 becomes opening balance of year 6, which goes up to the end of year 6. So I'm saying the interest changed after payment number 4 was done. Meaning the interest took place at the end of year 5, which is beginning of year 6. I don't want to put it at year 6 because this is the end of year 6. Year 6 started there just at the end of year 5. So at the beginning of year 6, at the end of year 5, the interest changed. Meaning the interest changed at after payment number 4 was made. Meaning we need to know the balance after the old PMT was made. What do I mean by old PMT was made? That means the balance must be after the old PMT was made. Here is the old PMT. After 4 payments of 397,220 were made, of which these payments were made at this interest rate, if you remember. Our interest rate was old 7.76326. And it was there for year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. It was there up to year 5. Then beginning of year 6, it changed. So we need the balance after year 5 payment was made, which is after the 4th payment was made, because payment number 1, payment number 2, payment number 3, and payment number 4 took place year 2, year 3, year 4, and year 5 consecutively. Now, on that note, it means for us to determine a balance after the 4th payment, we need to use the amount function. And I said this to you, and I want to highlight it again. You only use the amount if you have PMT captured, you have interest captured, you have N captured, and you have PMT captured. Then you can press amount function to say, my calculator, tell me how much is the balance after we made such number of payments of such and such amount at this rate of interest, paying the present value. So now how much is the balance after such number of payments? That is why now we need to recalculate our PMT, old PMT, before the change in interest rate. So now we say plus minus 1,903,230. Hope my memory still serves me. Yes, that was the balance at the end of year 2. Remember, at this point, BGN was used. Don't forget that BGN was used. So now we need to say the interest. This is the present value. The interest was 7.76236. This was our interest, and our N will be for 4 years, because we need, our N will be for 10 years, not 4 years. We need to know the PMT, how much will be paid for the next 10 years, because at this point in time, we don't know the change. So now we need to know how much will be the amounts of the PMT, which is 397,000, but we need to calculate it in our calculator. 397,220. So this will be our PMT. Let us punch it in our calculator. It's not supposed to be there down, but in the calculator. Remember, you will not get any mark for this because it's the recalculation of what you did previously. 1,903,230 plus minus present value. 7.76326 is our interest. Is it 326 or 236? It is 326. It is 326. 326 is our interest. 10 is our I. Then 10 is our N. Then you compute our PMT. Something wrong there. 1,903,000. Oh, sorry, that is 2,903,000. That is where the biggest problem is. I'm sure some of you have already corrected me on that. We have 2,903,230 plus minus present value. 7.76326 is our interest. Our 10 is our N. Then we are looking for PMT. 10 is our N. 7.76326 is our I. 2,903,230 is our present value. We are looking for the monthly PMTs. I'm just looking now. I'm not getting this 797,000. Clear my memory. 2,903,230 plus minus is the present value. 7.76326 is our interest. We have 10 is our I. Compute PMT. Okay, then I don't get the same answer. Why? Because I did not put the BGN. Then I can put the BGN, which is second function future value. Then I say compute PMT, then the answer changes. Very important to note the mistake that I've just done, because I said put BGN, but I just forgot to put BGN. So let me just highlight there on top as BGN, because when this PMT was calculated, it was at the beginning, at the time the farmer was owing that amount. So now we have our BGN put on. We have our PV, interest, N for the entire period. Then we have PMT. Then now we can say amount, and we scroll down. We say 4 and enter, scroll down. Then we get to a balance AMRT, which is 1 million. 1,849,567 rand 14 cents. So this is the balance after the fourth payment was made. Balance and year 5, which is balance after the fourth payment. Balance after the fourth payment was made, which is the balance at the end of year 5. So now the interest rate changed at the beginning of year 6. So now that means this plus minus now this 1,849,567 rand 14 cents ends up now being a present value. Then we are looking for now for the new calculation, the new PMTs. Then we said our N will be 6 because 4 payments were already made. Then our interest will be 5.560 something. We calculated our new interest rate 5.56. It was 0. I just want to verify that. Yeah, there's something that I did not write there. I hope I did not inconvenience you. 5.64079. 64079. And it was there in my calculator. 64079. 64079. 5.64079. 5.64079. Now that was our interest that we calculated. Then after we have our N is 6, then what are we looking for? We are looking for the new PMT. How much will be the new payment? So now we then now do the normal calculation. Remember, in the new PMT now we don't have any more of the BGN function. Make sure that you remove it. First clear the memory, then say second function future value to remove the BGN. Then now we're calculating now using that present value where we say 1,849,567 rand 14 cents, and this is our present value 5.64079. 079 is our interest, 6 is our N. Then we compute the PMT 371,898 rand 33 cents. So this becomes our PMT 371,898.33 cents. So this will be your final answer. And I just want to bring across this very important line when it comes to this question, the story of the farmer, more especially when it comes to the change in this interest rate. For the last time as I'm done with this question, in this underline you need to know that we had interest that started at 7.76 326% from payment number 1, payment number 2, payment number 3, payment number 4. So we calculated the future value up to we calculated the balance up to the end of this period when the interest rate was 7.76. So from PMT number 5, the interest rate was 5.64079. For the next 6 PMT, which is payment number 5, payment number 6, payment number 7, payment number 8, and payment number 9, and payment number 10, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is why now our N becomes 6, because there were 6 payments that were left before the end of the period when the new interest rate was requested and approved. Guys, with that, thank you. Been wonderful. I thought this question would take me less time than I anticipated. But where there's a lot, there's sometimes a need for more detailed explanation. With that, guys, thank you. You've been wonderful. Then I will be meeting you in the next recording. Thank you.